One thing's for sure, there's a lot of enchantment when you come over here to London. But what we're talking about is the book Enchantment, written by Guy Kawasaki. He joins us. He was an Apple enthusiast and a big part of the Apple brand, and he joins us now to talk about his new book and how we can live the enchanted life. Guy, welcome to Get Connected.
Thank you.
Well, Guy, first and foremost, why did you pick the title Enchantment?
Well, believe it or not, it describes the goal, which is to have this enchanting, special relationship with people. And from a purely tactical, practical marketing perspective, I had to find a word that I could own. And so I would make the case that, influence is owned by Bob Cialdini, and Dale Carnegie owns this word of how to win friends and influence people. So I needed to grab a word that I could own, just like Tom Peters owns excellence, Malcolm Gladwell owns tipping. No one owned enchantment, so I'm trying to seize it.
Well, it certainly is a great title. And for those that are thinking of going back to school, what advice do you have for them today?
Well, I think that one of the key pillars of enchantment is that you have to be trustworthy. And one of the key ways to be trustworthy is to increase your knowledge and competence. Knowledge meaning, what to do, and competence, how to do it. And as an aside, my partners at Devry focus on making people more competent and more knowledgeable. So that's a key reason to go back to school. You can increase your trustworthiness. Also, another pillar of enchantment is quality. And part of being quality is understanding the technology, understanding the market, and these things also you learn in school. So between quality and trustworthiness, two very good reasons to go back to school and increase your level of education.
Nice. Now, you've mentioned that you're partnering with Devry University. What has impressed you most about their education?
Oh, the quality of the people there is very high, and they have this passion for making people more knowledgeable, more competent, for changing the world. It's very fun working with them.
Now the big question, is it more important what we learn or the actual degree we get?
That could almost be taken as a trick question. For some organizations where the degree, the actual credential is a signal that you've passed the test. So for some organizations, you have to have this test. But I would say in general, it's more important that you gain the knowledge than you gain that actual credential. And at one extreme, we see a case like Steve Jobs, who attended Reed College for just a few months. On the other extreme, you see people with PhD work. So it's not just the degree, it's really the knowledge that it's the most important. But part of the game is you need the credential to get into the game, and that's just the way it is.
Well, that certainly is good advice. Now let's go back to your book, Enchantment. It's based on 3 pillars. Why are there only 3 pillars, and why do most of us fall short in achieving them?
Well, there are only 3 pillars of enchantment because, that's all it takes to build the base. If you're likable, trustworthy, and high quality, and that's probably 80% of the action. The rest of the book is how to implement your launch, how to overcome resistance to your enchantment, how to make your enchantment last, how to enchant your employees, how to enchant your boss. So those are the pillars, and then you have to add on these other things to get the total picture.
Absolutely. Now, Mr. Kawasaki, I've got to ask you to give us one tip out of your book so it encourages our viewers to go out there and buy the whole thing.
Well, how about I teach your audience how to enchant their boss?
All right.
So this is a simple thing, but the best way to enchant your boss is whenever your boss asks you to do something, you drop everything else and you do it. You totally prioritize your boss requests. It might not seem optimal, it might not seem fair, but this is what works. And as an aside, some advice to men who are married, I would advise you that whenever your wife asks you to do something, you do the same thing. You drop everything else and prioritize what she asks, and you'll have a much happier marriage, and you'll be an enchanting person in business.
So the advice reaches outside the cubicle as well. Good to know. Now, you've worked decades with a man that just passed, Steve Jobs. What was it like working with him, and what did you learn?
I worked for Apple twice in my life, 83 to 87, 95 to 97. I was first a software evangelist and then chief evangelist. Steve Jobs truly changed my life. He was a remarkable person, one of a kind. A lot of people say such and such person is a visionary, or some people even declare themselves to be a visionary. Steve Jobs truly was a visionary. And I would count, there's only two visionaries in business in my mind. It's Walt Disney and Steve Jobs. And so he totally changed my expectations of what I could do. He taught me to appreciate the aesthetics and the interface of things. And he also taught me just this passion to change the world and to believe that you can change the world.
Indeed, he was a great man, and how lucky you were to get to work with him. But I'm curious, you've had tremendous success across the board. And given that success, what advice would you give to any of us following our dreams?
The advice I would give to anybody living their dream is don't let the bozos grind you down. That there are going to be these people who are going to tell you it can't be done, it shouldn't be done, and it isn't necessary. And there's kind of two kinds of bozos. One is a bozo who's a loser bozo, and that bozo isn't dangerous because that person is a loser, and only a loser would listen to a loser. The dangerous bozo is a winner bozo. This is the bozo who's successful and rich and famous and dresses in all black, drives a German car. That's the dangerous bozo. But a lot of times when you're really successful in one thing, it's very difficult to embrace the next thing. So if you're successful in mini computers, you won't appreciate personal computers. And if you're successful as an ice factory, you might not appreciate the refrigerator technology. So that's the dangerous bozo, and you cannot let those people stop you.
Mr. Kawasaki, certainly great advice. Thanks for joining us today. And where can we go to learn more information on what you shared with us?
Sure. My website is guykawasaki.com, and also Devry has a website, devry.edu.
Thanks so much. You truly are an inspiration.
Thank you very much for having me on your show.
It was so nice to have Mr. Kawasaki join us, and I encourage you to get the book called Enchantment. I think we can all learn something, more than one thing, a lot of things. And speaking of that, we're going to learn a lot here in this enchanting city of London when we return. Thank you so much for watching. Are you tired of negative news? We are.
And that's why we're creating a movement.
By keeping it real.
With what you need to know.
It's more than what's happening.
It's bringing hope back to our lives.
So go to conntv.com and join our movement.